Hey everyone, welcome to episode 19. We're still kicking, we're still grinding. We have an awesome episode today. We actually got our first podcast guest. We got an interview with them. It's from HamHouseSports, actually. Father and son duo have been doing great content, great collectors, love everything they do. Just such awesome people. So we're going to get that interview in a few minutes for you guys. But we're going to run down with some headlines first and get a few topics in before this. Welcome back to our good partner, Rick. Ricky, welcome, baby.
Thanks, buddy. Stoked to be here.
Always, always. So our headlines, we got Guardians prospect. He's actually became real hot this year alone. Ricky or Ralphie Velasquez, he's got called up to high A. His stuff has been exploding for the Guardians. I think the Guardians are a nice little farm system to hop into. Got Jace Young called up to the MLB, and he's looking pretty good. He's grinding ABs. I know you got some stuff there with you. He's looking good. He's looking good. Just like his brother, I think they're going to be comparison-wise very good, very quality players. We got Drew Romo from the Rockies. He actually got called to MLB. If you're a Drew Romo fan or a holder, that's good news for you. Tristan Casas back for the Red Sox, looking as good as ever. Definitely need him in the lineup. They DFA Dom Smith. We got a pretty weird name actually. This one's weird. Forrest Whitley. I'm pretty sure you remember him, Rick. Big time draft prospect, and for the Astros, kind of went AWOL, was really bad. Dude, he's actually kind of dominating right now, and he's someone to really look into because he was recalled to be like Paul Skeens, that good.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, he was the number one high school arm in the 2016 draft. So I think his first is in 2016 Bowman draft.
Yeah,
And he's I think blown his arm out maybe twice, and just
he's been injury ridden bad.
but he's been grinding, and now they've got him in the bullpen, and I don't think he's left an earned run since mid June or something crazy.
Yeah, he's been real hot. Everyone was worried that it was gonna be another Mark Appel situation, which obviously we don't want. But he's looking really good. So keep an eye on him. Forrest Whitley, he's a real talent. Another Astros prospect just got called up. Shea Wickham. If you look at his stats, he was going absolutely bonkers. His power is really good. He's a good sized prospect. He's got talent. I actually just sold his green that I picked out of a dollar box for like maybe $5, and I sold it for 50. So nice little come up
Hell
for
yeah,
me.
buddy.
Whoop de do.
Hell yeah, little pat,
um,
little pat on the back. That's two of my
thank you for
guys
me.
from last week's segment, right? Our
Yep,
potential
yep.
September call ups on guys to target. Obviously, Junior was the big name we all talked about,
Mhm.
but Jace and Shea Wickham were on our list, so that's
Yep. We're
two for
see,
us, two for the good guys.
we know things. We know things. Um, crazy thing. This is one that I didn't expect to happen because these two guys. So Jordan Walker and Spencer Torkelson both get called back up from AAA after their early season struggles. Jordan Walker was looking better. He's looking much better. Not like, oh my God, we need him back. But Spencer Torkelson does not make sense to me. I get he was one of the best prospects in his draft. He was the best player probably in his farm system. But man, he was so bad and he was not doing good in AAA. The call up doesn't make sense for me. This is probably the Tigers doing their due diligence to maybe see if he can just bring it back, but big yikes. Big yikes. Another one, we got Jason Dominguez getting called up to the Yankees for their 27th man. That's obviously a big one. We've been waiting on him for how many years now? He's been in Bowman for like 13 years. So he's back up now. Draft prospect, this one. So in our most recent draft, we were talking about how this draft was absolutely loaded, and these guys are showing out. But one guy right now is showing out, I think, besides Christian Moore, this guy's showing out probably the most, and it's Nick Kurtz. My God, this dude is just pissing on the ball. I remember when he did it, like he hit his like fourth home run. You texted me and you're like, "Dude, Nick Kurtz is on fire," and I'm like, I'm watching the highlights and I'm like, this is ridiculous. The way he's swinging, don't expect for him to not be in like Double A or Triple A by the end of this year. I mean, he is cooking. and he's going to be a big guy in Bowman draft for sure if he doesn't get moved to the next year's Bowman. But keep an eye out for Nick Kurtz. Jacob Wilson on a rehab, went 2 for 3. No fucking surprise there. The dude is, I swear to God, he swings with a giant fucking tennis racket. He hits everything. Everything. It just goes to where he wants. He's a stud. In other news, our main MVP candidate, Bobby Witt Jr., reaches the career milestone of 500 hits already. Holy fucking shit. How is that possible?
Kid's an absolute stud, right? I mean, for the Royals to have the foresight, because $282 million or whatever his contract is seems like a freaking bargain at this point.
What is it? 11 years, 280 something.
Yeah,
my
dude,
God,
that's
dude,
absolute steal. Kudos to the Royals front office. Kudos to their player development. I mean, good Lord, this kid's going to be in the MVP
also,
conversation.
For the Royals to do this, you have just turned around your franchise for the next 10 years.
Yep.
It's huge.
100%.
And then you got what? Caglione, right? They got Caglione? They got Jack Caglione. Yeah. So, I mean, there's another premier power hitter to scoot in right next to Bobby Witt. They got a few other guys that are exciting. Blake Mitchell and Gavin Cross look really good right now. It's going to be a nice, exciting future for the Royals. So, next one we got Bubba Chandler, prospect for the Pirates. He was a big-time 2021 draft, I believe. Bowman 2021 draft.
21 draft. Yep.
He's looking like an absolute stud in AAA right now. 13 scoreless with 17 Ks. You threw it in there for us, Rick. I mean, I know you're high on him. I'm also very high on him, I think. And another monster pitcher to add to the Pirates rotation. It's going to be scary next year, man. Pirates are going to be a force.
Their rotation is absolutely filthy, right? So, yeah, kid just got called up. First start in AAA, 7 innings, 6 Ks. Turns around with 6 innings and 11 Ks. So, I mean, 13 innings, all shut out with 17 Ks so far. And two AAA starts that's something special.
I mean, that's not even a scoff at. That's domination. Like, that's insanity. That's big league ready, in my opinion. And I was pretty pissed that we got Quinn Priester and not Bubba Chandler in that trade. So, yeah, what the fuck? Fuck us, right? And then I got 2 guys that actually just faced off. We got Jackson Jobe, again, still killing it, had 5 scoreless, until you got the red fucking hot Chase DeLauder. I mean, Chase DeLauder was a big guy we talked about in the preseason and in spring training, and then he got hurt, and then he kind of started off slow again, got hurt again. Chase DeLauder, man, is killing it right now. And I would not – he is a big September call-up for us. I think he is huge, and the Guardians being in the position they're in right now, monster call-up for Chase DeLauder. And he is murdering the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, a premier prospect in spring training.
Yeah, dude, monster bat he's got plus power, kind of in the vein is Junior Caminero. He's got out of 22 draft, again, just one of those loaded products, as draft always is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I couldn't be more excited and could be more bummed that I don't really have any autos of Chase DeLauder other than a mega box. I think
his prices are definitely probably shooting up right now. I would say if he doesn't get called up this year, oh my God, what an absolute monster offseason buy right before spring training. Huge. Get some color, man. I mean, definitely a good buy. Even in PSA 9s, they'll shoot right up, you know. So, and then my last headline is something that I'm watching these videos. Have you seen any videos of Fanatics Fest?
I've caught a couple of not even really influencers, but just guys that I buy from on Whatnot or whatever. They tend to kind of vlog their card show experiences. But yeah, I've followed some of their journey for sure. I've seen some of the Cactus Jack stuff we talked about last week. That looks actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it does. So, and I didn't think it was gonna be like a mini box. I thought it was gonna be. Apparently, those are $1,000. So,
good Lord,
insanity. But so, this is something that's insane to me because I'm watching videos, and this looks like it shits on the National. The things that that Fanatics is putting on, and I'm wondering if this is like a thing right now where Did Fanatics hold back at the National for this?
Oh yeah, this is definitely a Ruben thing for sure. Just dropping his nuts on the table. I think he's got. I think I don't know if he's paying people to say it, but everybody I've seen post about it is just calling it the National of the East. Like
Which doesn't make sense because the National is in the East. But
yeah,
I've been seeing that too. But and maybe this is like a fight of power thing when Jeff Wilson wants it to go west and like what we were talking about. But dude, oh my god, the things I was seeing there was insane. The select. I heard there was just athletes walking around tables buying cards,
Yep.
celebrities, influencers. I was like, dude, this looks absolutely insane. Insane. I'm wondering if we, after our national trip next year, if we just need to shoot over Fanatics Fest.
Yeah, dude. Just
fuck it.
Just book it now. Just book it now. Just fill the calendar.
I know, right? At this point, you might need to.
Yeah. We'll go to Shipshawana, we'll go to Chantilly, we'll go to Dallas. We'll just fucking do them all.
Well, Pittsburgh and then back to Fanatics Fest for sure. I'm still so excited for our national trip next year. It's going to be amazing, especially in Chicago. Like, my God, it's going to be, especially with all the hotels going to be there. I feel like what I experienced this year is going to be a whole different level next year. That's what everyone says. Actually, in our interview, with HamHouseSports, he actually talks about how he thinks Chicago is going to be insane too. 3 topics I want to get through for this interview. We got Tarek Skubal right now in contention for the pitcher triple crown. I couldn't tell you the last time it happened. I was watching, he was at 5 scoreless when I looked last. He is so goddamn good. So goddamn good. What how do you feel about Skubal? You think he can do this thing?
Yeah, buddy. So he was definitely my preseason Cy Young candidate. I was trying to get up more of his stuff. He's a 2022 Bowman Chrome guy and a 2021 Topps Chrome rookie. So one of those quick turnarounds where I think it was a little bit out in Bowman.
21 Chrome.
Yes, right. 21 Chrome is a rough product. But I mean, he is as good as advertised. His stuff is as filthy, and he's super duper aggressive in the strike zone against anybody, right? Like he's pounding the strike zone consistently. He's challenging everybody. He's challenging Judge. He's challenging Soto. He's challenging Stanton tonight. So if there's just a guy that you want to root for in a kind of a slumping franchise that you kind of wish could get some kind of bright spot and turn this thing around, is this young Tigers team for sure.
Yeah, so I agree. I mean, he's an absolute stud. Big lone bright spot in 21 Topps Chrome. We know, I mean, Jazz is in there too, but you know how I feel about Jazz. I think he fucking sucks, so I'm not going to consider him a bright spot. But in there, Joe Adell, a few other guys.
Brian Hayes, Tristan
Bone's
McKenzie.
Not bad. But again, Brian Hayes sucks too. Tonight, he faced the Yankees. It's a 1-0 game right now. He went 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, 4 walks, which is and 5 strikeouts. So, I mean, he's still killing it. That's still a phenomenal outing. I think he can actually pull it out. I mean, obviously the Yankees aren't. I mean, you held the Yankees to what? 3 hits and 1 earned run. Obviously, 4 walks ain't great, but I mean, you worked around that to only have 1 earned. Dude's a fucking stud. I mean, I can't say more about him. He's just so good and so much talent there.
He's a beauty. And last MLB pitching triple crown, Shane Bieber, actually in 2020.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I mean, I know he had a good season in 2020. I know he won the triple crown. That's pretty impressive. And that's the thing we didn't like really hear about. Like last triple crown for hitter was Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah. I don't want to say asterisks, but it's the COVID shortened season.
Oh.
So yes, it's not.
You mean the Jose Abreu MVP year?
Exactly. Yeah.
I still love it, and I still consider him MVP. I love Jose Abreu. So I mean, Skubal, phenomenal. Triple crown will be awesome. So maybe the first real triple crown we'll get in a long, long time. So right now, second topic, I want to talk about MVP, and I don't really have the stats in front of me, but NL's I think pretty fucking locked up. I don't really think there's much of a contention. Ohtani's about to just hit his 40-40. So, I mean, It's still an insane season. I mean, you look back, he's 40-40 now, and I think Acuna was like 30, 57, 58 by this point last season. It shows you
Yep.
how amazing a season Acuna had and why he was MVP and everything.
Yep.
So right now, I think NL's locked up for Ohtani. Ain't a secret. But I truly think AL MVP, and like we have talked about recently, I think AL MVP is going to be Bobby Witt Jr. I do. Say what you want about Judge and the home runs and everything. The WAR, I think he's tied with Judge for WAR, but the stolen bases, he's at 28 home runs or something. His average is at like 330, 340.
351.
Holy fuck. 351. I mean, like, how could and he's just stroking everything, man. He is such a stud, such a star. I really do think he deserves it over Judge. I mean, I know Judge, and call me a fucking Red Sox guy, and I'm a Yankees hater. Sure. Does Judge deserve it too? If they could split the MVPs, I'm saying fuck yeah. But Bobby, I mean, what he's doing right now is fucking different, man.
Yeah, there's a few things working here in this AL MVP race. Right. So coming into today, tied in Fangraphs, both bat WAR and total WAR at 8.7. The Royals are in the wild card, right? So remember, we got the expanded wild card. There's 3 wild card teams that make it in the playoffs this year. So they're 3 games back, I think, in the Central. They're in the wild card hunt, right? So that's a massive check to Bobby Witt, but still on the same side for Judge. Yankees are in first in the AL East. They pulled ahead of Baltimore. Judge is leading the way. And the fact that in a season where you take these 2 guys out of it, I mean, Juan Soto is the clear fucking cut MVP, and he doesn't even get a whisper. Like, that's how good Judge's season is now.
And you have Gunnar Henderson, Rafael Devers, Jose Ramirez. The AL is fucking loaded this year.
Your boy, honestly, who's maybe even ahead of Devers, Jarren Duran. Don't discount his season too. I do want to say one note in the NL race. Not that it's a race, right? At this point, as long as barring an injury tomorrow, Showtime's probably already got it locked up. But shout out to the Big Bear Marcell Ozuna. His numbers are fucking insane this year. The Braves are slumping.
38 home run or 40? I think he's 40 home run.
I think he might be at 40 now. He's hitting like 309. I think he might be first in RBI in the NL. It's just crazy. His season is fantastic, but it really is kind of a runaway for Shohei at this point.
Yeah, it's to the point that I think the stolen bases come into the fact of how good he is and how athletic he is and everything. You also got to consider the fact that people are gonna say, "Oh, he's not fielding," but also Marcell Ozuna ain't the best fielder, and we have seen that too. So not really an argument for them two at all. It's the same situation. Yeah. So Marcell's not a situation. They're the same. They're both phenomenal. Marcell Ozuna obviously has the rough past and the off-field issues and everything, but you can't deny how good he is at his age and what he's doing. He was a part of that former Marlins super team, quote unquote, and before they purged it. And I mean, he's so far he's becoming the best one. Which, if you had to pick out of those 6 guys of Stanton, Yelich, Real Muto, him, I mean, rest in peace, Jose Fernandez and others. If you would have said, "Oh my God, Marcell Ozuna is going to be the first one," I'd be like, "Get the fuck out of here! You sound stupid." And now he's at what age, 37 or whatever, 36, and he's putting up an MVP season. I mean, he had some time off, obviously, to rest the body, but I mean, that's fucking crazy what he's doing. I'm very impressed with him. It's pretty impressive. Last topic is we actually got a fan question. We wanted to actually get a little talk about the Astros top prospects. He included Joey Loperfido in there, and another traded one. So we're not going to talk about them because Joey Loperfido went to the Blue Jays, which really sucks for them. I think it was really stupid of them to trade Joey Loperfido, especially with their farm system so thin, as we know. Um, their top prospects is pretty weird because now their second overall prospect is Walker Janik, which I have like barely heard about before. I mean, he was in the most recent draft, and he was a 28th overall. Um, One guy I'm kind of loving on right now is actually Jacob Melton. I mean, I know we've heard about Jacob Melton in the past, but he's playing pretty well, and he actually did just get his call to AAA. Who else you like on that Astros team?
Yeah, Melton's one of those weird ones in the hobby where his firsts are in 22 draft,
No,
but
non-auto, yeah.
non-auto, right? His
Mhm.
auto actually didn't come until 2023 Chrome. They didn't even get his
Yes.
auto into 23 Bowman, um, which is nuts. But in that 23 Bowman product, they had Whitcomb and Wilyer Bray, who's obviously now raking for the Sox. My two favorite prospects are the two guys from 24 Bowman, Luis Baez, but even more so for me, I think Bryce Matthews is their number one prospect. I think by the next ranking,
Agree.
he'll move up to number one. His bat is legit. He's got infield flexibility. It's tough there. Because I mean, who are you going to bump out of there? You wait till Altuve ages out. You got
Yeah.
Bregman and you got Jeremy Pena. So it's a tough situation as an Astros infield prospect.
I mean, Bryce Matthews is probably a 2026 call up and everything that aspect. Um, I like Bryce Matthews. I think his power numbers are legit. I think he can really swing the bat. My issue is his average since he got to, I believe, double A. I think, let me see here. I think I have it up. When he got to double A, he's hitting 234, 30 games, small sample size, but still, I mean, you know, 234, a little underwhelming. 22 years old. It's kind of like I know he just got drafted in 23. He was a college guy, but you gotta take that next step. Like Nick Kurtz is coming out of here and everything, and just jumping right in. So I mean, the issue with the Astros prospects is that they're underwhelming. I think their best one so far has been, in my opinion, Zach DeCenzo. I mean, he kind of came out of nowhere too. Underwhelming numbers in Double A, goes up to Triple A, kills it, absolutely kills it, and now he's on the big league lineup. He's kind of iffy right now in the big leagues. I mean, he's got to acclimate. A weird thing about Zach DeCenzo actually is we're actually going to be getting his Bowman first and Bowman Chrome upcoming. So that's another weird one. But again, now that Shea Wickham is probably going to graduate out, Walker Janik's there now, and he hasn't been playing good in high A. Jacob Melton's hitting like 204 in Triple A, but I mean his power numbers are good.
Yep. Corona looks like he's kind of taking a step back at AAA. I thought he was a big time, power speed 2020, maybe even like, 25 type guy, but he's hitting like 220, I think, in AAA.
Yeah.
Pedro Leon,
Louis,
he also got called up. He's got like one hit in 7 or 8
yeah,
games, I think, something like that. So he's struggling with his cup of coffee so far.
yeah. Luis Baez is hitting like 109 in Double A.
Oof.
I mean, I'm looking right now, and I mean, I've heard a little bit about Kenny Gomez. He's actually playing. I think Kenny Gomez is actually a good one. Hitting 368 in high A. He is 19 years old. So I think if you're going to like invest in anyone, I actually do like Kenny Gomez too. He's
Okay. Yeah, I think he's
really,
part of that trio or even quartet in 23 Bowman Chrome. I think all those guys,
yeah.
Gomez, Corona, Melton, might be one more. They have at least 3 of those guys in the 23 Bowman Chrome as their first autos.
I think going in next year when they do their new top 30 for each team, I think you're going to see Kenny Gomez go all the way to the top 10 the way he's playing. Just a lot of everyone I'm looking here just underwhelming. I mean, they do have a good pitcher, Anderson Brito. He's playing pretty good in the low A. It's just a very underwhelming farm system.
Yep.
So, but that's what we'll talk about for the Astros here. Thanks for the question, by the way. We appreciate any questions and we'll entertain them for sure. But I think that's really what we got for this episode going into our interview. So right now, we're going to go into our interview with HamHouseSports. We thank them for coming on. They were absolutely incredible. I hope you guys enjoy it. So here it comes. Hey, everyone. We got our big interview today, our first one actually, with our good friends from HamHouseSports. We're going to welcome them in. Big Matt,
What's
Little
up?
Matt. What's up, guys? I'm so happy to have you on. I've been, I
Absolutely,
mean,
Coach.
me
Thanks
and
so
Big
much
Matt have
for
been
having us,
talking
bro.
about this. Yeah, of course. We've been talking about doing this for quite a bit now. I'm just happy to have you guys on. So I just want to ask, like, how did you guys kind of start doing this and get into
Yeah.
cards,
So,
especially like a family thing?
yeah. So I've got 5 kids, and my oldest, this one here, came to me probably 2 years ago. He's like, Dad, I want to get into sports cards. And I was like baseball cards? Like the ones that I had when I was a kid that sit in the closet? And he's like, yeah. He's like, this changed entirely. And he's like, I was watching this guy, he's a penny across America, Ryan Trahan on YouTube, and he traded a penny up into a car. And I want to trade sports cards into $10,000. And I was like, you've lost your mind.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, I was like, all right, let's see what this is about. So I dug out my collection, junk wax mostly, and organized all of it, sold it all in one big lot. We sold a couple bicycles and just completely started the funding of HamHouseSports from that.
Yeah, I mean, that is exactly how it happened. I'm watching YouTube one day, and I see Sports Card Investor's video where he just bought an $100,000 Michael Jordan card. I'm like, Dad, I said, what if you have one of these Michael Jordan cards, or what if you have one of these cards? So I
did not.
I was pumped because I thought my dad had all this money in the collection that my grandma had saved, but not really. Just a bunch of 1991 Donruss stuff.
I did the same thing. I went through all my dad's old 80s stuff, and I was like, oh, this could be worth money. I'm like, this is junk. But I mean, that's super cool. I mean, like the fact that you guys get to do that. I actually have a little boy of my own on the way.
Awesome.
So
Congrats,
I'm hoping in quite a few years when he gets older, obviously, he can do it with me too. I mean, that's something that, you cherish very much. And obviously to have that with your son is super awesome.
Well, it's super cool too, because like I grew up a baseball guy. Like baseball's in my blood. My dad was a baseball player. And I always heard my dad, everybody says it, but it legitimately happened. I heard him talk about how, he had every Mickey Mantle card or whatever and put them in his bike spokes, and his grandma or his mom threw them away. And so I've always had this nostalgia about cards that really drives for me the passion of it all, right? Not necessarily the business side of buying, selling, flipping, trading, whatever, but the passion for just the hobby and just cards in general. So that's kept me engaged. Whereas little Matt is more of just, he loves making deals. He loves making connections.
Yeah.
And so, but he's starting to fall in love with cards. I give him a hard time.
Yeah. So, I mean, in the beginning, I was a broke and determined 11-year-old going around, hey, can I walk your dogs? Hey, can I mow your grass? Hey. And they're like, all right, what are you going to do with the money? And I used to tell them, I'm going to save up so I can buy my grandpa's truck. And now I tell them, I'm going to buy baseball cards with it. So, but I sold my Xbox. I was doing tons of stuff just to buy, sell, and trade. And I ended up like building up a little bit of money so I could buy the Zion Williamson card for $30, a Chronicles Zion Williamson rookie, and sell it for $40. And I was doing that a lot. And then we started doing it, me and Big Matt, just with the HamHouseSports thing, started buying a lot of newer football stuff. And we got burned on some. We were buying Mac Jones silvers for $125. But then we found out about baseball prospecting, and that was a wonderful journey.
Changed the game.
Yeah, that's my cup of tea. That's kind of how I got into it. I was a big baseball guy. And I mean, little Matt, I'm going to tell you right now, when I was your age, if I had $10, I thought I was on top of the world. And now I see kids your age at shows, and they're dropping like they have $3,000 flipping at shows. I'm looking at these kids. I'm like, what did I do wrong when I was your age? Like, it's such a different time now. But
yeah, it really is. That's one of the things that's super challenging for me as a dad is to have a concept of the value of money and the value of work, but also encourage him to, take the risk, right? Like there's calculated risk in prospecting or in buying and selling cards. And then there's just recklessness, right? Which that's gambling or, just doing silly things.
Buying Desmond Ritter.
Or opening wax in many cases. It's fun.
Oh,
it doesn't have, so I've been trying to I tell everybody when I talk about little Matt, he's a Ferrari that wants to go 250 down the interstate. And I'm like the governor. I'm like, okay, buddy, let's not run in, And so that's been this journey for us. And, but it's been a ton of fun. We've met a ton of people. We've learned so much. We've made money. We've had fun. It's just been great in every way.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. Big Matt. Little Matt, what he's saying is dead on, especially now that I am grown and I have my own job, I have my own house and stuff, and I'm collecting. One thing is perfect that you can see too is like what we see in the hobby is like we see these big cards that we want, but it's like look at Wander Franco. People bought his cards for $70,000-$80,000 for his Bowman First Red stuff, and then they're gone. You got to know, it is gambling in its sense, but it's also I do buy and sell, but I also know that it's for the fun of it. There's always it's money to be made, but also I put the money back into it, and I love it so much, and I don't do too much. I pump the brakes when I need to, and that's one of the most important things.
Well, I do think that the reason like I've been doing very well is a lot of the people like doing the cards have to pay their own rare, have to pay their cards. So like me, I'm a 13-year-old or 14-year-old kid now who I can just put everything back into the business, and now my dad's telling me like, you have taxes coming up. You have to pay a car. You have to pay for a car in 2 years. You have to do this. So I'm seeing like, okay, like I might need to start like holding back a little bit, or even maybe like, so that's what I'm trying to think of, like going ahead. But right now, I've been buying tons this week. A lot of football, a lot of moving the football stuff. I bought a CJ Stroud Black Pandora downtown. The biggest
I saw it. Unreal, great card.
One of the things too, man, is like, and I'm super. Matthew just loves talking about cards and deals, and which is great. And I talk about like education, and so like I'm big on like making sure like there are smart ways to prospect, there are smart ways to buy and sell, and so part of how we limit our exposure from getting burned is staying pretty quick with prospects, and then only using the profit to buy the ones we hold.
Example.
So it's like everything, and Dakota will ask us when we start getting into that, but like those types of things are super important for people, because I hate when people go, oh dude, I just bought this, card of Jackson Holiday right before his debut. And, I bought it for $2,000 and he came out and struggled and it went down to $1,000 and I lost money, and I hate cards. I don't want that. I want people to be successful, and I want them to be able to enjoy it the way we have.
Yeah, and that's a great point too. That's what kind of something we aim to do on the podcast here is we aim to give the information. And a lot of the times people ask us, like we get messages and people ask us, they're like, why aren't you talking about Paul Skeens or Jackson Holiday? I'm like, because we're not encouraging people to buy them at this moment. We're not saying go get Holiday, he's so hot. That's not what we're doing. We're giving the information to prospects smartly. And one thing is, he is not Jackson Holiday and Paul Skeens are not the smart ones to invest in. They're incredibly high prices and, in my opinion, inflated, because you're looking at they're doing so good. Is there going to be a dip in Paul Skeens in the offseason or at some time? If he struggles, maybe gets hurt. Yes. And that is the time to invest, not only as an investor, but purely as a collector. I have seen it. I invest. Two things I invested in. There's no glare. I invest a lot in Rafael Devers. And I was a true believer in thinking he was an MVP candidate. And in my opinion, he very much is. And when you look at guys like him, he was a guy when he struggled or in the beginning of the season when he got hurt, his stuff wasn't crazy high. But again, people get like FOMO. They really don't want to miss out on these things. Yeah. And then they go and buy. And one thing I preach is when we tell these prospects, you got to get them at the right time early, but they have to have sample size, stability, at a good hype. I bought Roman Anthony in spring training, a nice hefty one, and I'm taking a loss on it. As a Red Sox prospect, I'm fine to keep it, obviously. Yeah. But that's things we tell people. You have to have a sample size and quality, but not too late to where these guys wait till they get called up to the bigs to see if they're good. You're way too late. You're going to overspend. You're going to lose a lot of money on it.
Yeah,
100%.
Which Anthony is it?
I got it right here. Let's see. I forgot who I bought it off of. It is I'll tilt it down. It is the purple PSA 10. I do love the card. I'm a big fan of purples and greens. We talked about it on an episode before, and me and another member, we screamed at each other. We were like just screaming because he thinks purples and greens are stupid. I like them because I like the rarity for a collector. I like the rarity. $250.99. There's only a certain amount of those. and a lot of people, especially football, Lil Matt, I know because you probably love silvers. And
I mean,
I never got it for football. I never really understood what the hype was. It's a refractor to me, you know.
Yeah.
Color.
Well, the interesting thing too is like one of the things that I think about long value, like versus short term value, right? Like, so if you feel like you've got a guy who could be a legitimate all-star, you know what I mean, perennial kind of guy, his purple and his green are going to do really, really well. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But on the prospecting side of things, you can get purples and greens at value today, and they're not going to be as liquid as, say, blues and golds or whatever, but you're also getting it lower. So if it's like for you, if it's a guy you really like for a team you pull for and you're willing to go long in that, like for us on Anthony, we've I've
owned 3 blues PSA 10s myself.
3 blues, a gold, atomic, and refractor, but we moved all of them fast. And so we've probably made,
I mean, I've made alone probably.
We probably made $3,000 on Anthony.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like for us, and again, it's just with where we are, Anthony's not a guy right now that we're like holding into the spring. Like we just sold a gold and a refractor like in the last 2 weeks. But again, everybody, that's the beauty of it is everybody has their guy that they like. You know what I mean? And so you just have to find your guy, man, and ride your guy. Ride or die.
Those are my collectors there. That's my team. So even if they suck, I'm just like, whatever, I had them. And if they're going to be all-stars, that's huge. But guys like, for me, for Mayer, Roman Anthony, and Kyle Teal, what the narrative that's being driven with those 3 are insane to me. Like they're being called the big 3, being brought up together. For that, there's going to be a lot of hype behind that. And in any case, I think if you buy at any time, I think there's a lot of money to be made on them because of the narrative. The Red Sox, in general, it's huge. Yeah.
Well, Sox market is huge too. I mean, the big market teams, kind of like the Yankees or Red Sox, those types of teams, guys are going to go after.
Yeah, big game last night, that walk-off.
Oh, listen, it was like 11:30 and I was screaming in my bedroom because 4-game losing streak, we needed that so bad. And unfortunately with the whole Jaron Duran mishap and everything that happened with him, it sucks. He needs to chill out a little bit, but he said sorry and he's going to learn from it. Yeah. And missing him is obviously huge right now, so winning that game was big.
Yeah, it was huge. But like you were saying with the whole prospecting thing, is like a lot of people see, dude, Jackson Holiday hit 4 home runs. Let's go buy his cars. Or Spencer Jones just hit a 470-foot bomb in spring training. Let's go buy his True Blue PSA 10 for $2,000. Yep. Like
I preach to stay away from him big time.
Plate discipline
and his stats now are not good.
Strikeout rate is insane.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to ask you guys now. Now that we're on prospects, who is your favorite guys to invest in at the moment?
I mean, we have probably 4.
You pick 2, and I'll pick the other 2. We have 4.
We have 4.
You talk about 2, I'll talk about 2.
My 2 favorites?
Just go.
I'll pick these 2.
Of course you would. Go ahead.
I'll let you pick.
Of course you would.
Those are the 2 better ones.
Go ahead.
All right. Start off Walker Jenkins. So Walker is the guy. Local kid to us. Walker, number 5 overall MLB prospect right now. So we love him. Is he the best value compared to other players? Probably not, because his price point is really high. But like my dad said, we've owned oranges. We've owned so many cards. So we're into this one for nothing. Yep.
Walker, so we've got like personally signed balls by him, pictures with him. So he's kind of like our guy that we're going to say, we're ride or die with. But like Matthew said, we bought. So with Walker Jenkins, here's a good example of education. We bought 2 oranges, we bought a gold, we bought 3 blues, and we bought 3 refractors. We put like $15K into Walker out of the gate. And we know him personally. We know his stats. We knew he was going to be hype. We went and we graded everything, and we liquidated 80% of that to turn around and basically hold this.
And another blue.
For free. And we've got another blue that's raw. So we're into Walker net free right now. So honestly, we can hold this until he debuts, past his debut, whatever, and we've already made our money on Walker. And that's the case with every prospect. Now I'm going to talk about one of mine first. All right. I'm going to talk about this one first. So Lazaro Montez. All right. So I have a thing for big bats. Like, I think in the major league prospecting game, big bats are sexy. Like, if you think about
big bats make the money.
Yep, big bats are sexy. So you've got a guy like Montez. He's in high A right now. I think he's still 19 years old. You know what I mean? I actually just got promoted to double A. And, you know, his plate discipline in double A has been a little bit more difficult than he was experiencing in high A. But at the same time, you look at this guy, he leads the entire minor leagues in RBIs this year, and his potential ceiling is just massive. And so we got this card. Actually, we traded out of a true blue Jackson Holiday before debut. So we're technically net free into a gold 10 Laz Montez. I got offered $1,900 on this on eBay yesterday.
That's a beautiful card. In my opinion, I'm on the same page with you, Montez. I'm looking at him, his pure power, the way they hype him up, his size at 19 years old, his size alone, and his bat to ball skills. It really reminds me of a better fielding Yordan Alvarez.
Exactly.
You can, especially in Seattle, where they do actually have a really good card market. And now with the injury to Felton and Celestin, I think you're really seeing him as their true number one prospect. And that card I adore. One of my good friends is actually a huge Mariners fan, and he would be drooling right now. I've been trying to get some Montez real bad.
Yeah. So, and in Montez, so right now I've got the gold PSA 10 and I own a blue PSA 10. And so I told Matthew the other day, I was like, we're in a position. So we've got the gold, we've got the blue. And
I mean, personally, I've owned 2 golds in the past 2 weeks, and I moved through them.
Yeah. But I'm at this point in time, I probably would liquidate one of the 2 and then hold one of the 2 long term. So kind of looking for the right time to unload the Laz on some hype and then hold one long into debut.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Emi Basalo, true gold PSA 10. I think we've owned probably 5 or 6 true gold Basalos.
Oh, I know your dad bought a Basalo off me, I'm pretty sure. We've talked about him before. I thought that was going to be his pick because I know he loves Basalo.
I gave him first choice, and he took Walker and Basalo, so that's okay. I'll let him have it.
I have a feeling I know who your other choice is going to be right down there. I have a feeling.
Who is it?
I think is it Xavier Isaac?
Big bat, big sexy.
I know it.
You got it. All right.
Oh, yeah. Lord. I
know
it.
True gold, Xavier Isaac. We actually have a 9 true gold Isaac coming in, and we also have a blue. So one of the things, Dakota, the way I look at it is we buy a lot of these guys, we sell a lot of these guys, we try to make profit on these guys, then we rebuy. And I personally like to have an orange and a blue, or a gold and a blue, and have 2 assets that I'm into low going into debut. And so now it's like I'm not conflicted if Isaac starts killing it or he gets super hyped because he's just got promoted to double A as well, that I can let the gold go and I'm net free into the blue and I can ride it in. So we've done the same thing with all 4 of these guys. And you'll see about our prospects, man. At least me, big bats, decent-ish markets. Walker's an exception with the Twins. Isaac's kind of exception with the Rays, but they're both North Carolina guys. But we already got out of any Spencer Jones we had. We got out of Roman Holiday. We kind of moved through those guys into the next round of guys.
Yeah, I actually have a great story about Spencer Jones. It was Christmas last year before spring training, and on Christmas I bought a random blaster. I was like, we're shopping for the nieces and nephews. We're like, whatever. I ended up pulling his green Bowman First Auto Redemption out of a blaster.
No way.
And it's that night I'm like, all right, this is going on Facebook. I'm selling it. And I'm selling it only for like $280 at the time. Obviously, I waited for spring training. I probably would have made a lot more money.
Yeah.
And even at my level, like, I mean, I've been doing this for almost 6 years now, and you see it too. I mean, we all make mistakes in this hobby. We always have regrets. And I'm like, now I'm pretty heavy on the grading now. So I put together a big grading order, and now that I see where the money is. It's you buy these raw when they come out, you grade, and then you could get your inventory to make your money, and then keep stuff like your PC for virtually free. And that's where I kind of came down to it. And obviously, you see how it is. So
it's so funny because like early on when we first got into prospecting, like we were buying into breaks. And dude, we were chasing Cole Young, and and it's fun, man, buying into breaks. And we actually hit in a break a Tyler Locklear True Orange. It gemmed, and we sold it to Locklear's future father-in-law, which was a really cool kind of story. But then we've come through and we've got a signed ball that his father-in-law sent us. But so you talk about guys like Ivan Melendez. You talk about what's the Padre pitcher that we were, Dylan Lesko. Yeah, we did this whole thing in the last year's release, in the 22 release. Yeah. We were chasing all kinds of deep value guys, and you still are able to liquidate those cards. It's crazy, man.
Release date is the best.
Well, the crazy thing is so I talk to people and I say baseball or Bowman is the drug that no one does. And what I mean by that is nobody admits to the fact that they're prospecting Bowman, but they are. Because you look at these dealers at these tables at the National, they don't have any of this Bowman out on the table, but they've got it all at the house because they're
behind them their faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was talking to guys and they had just football and just a little bit of baseball, they're the Bobby Witt and the Judge and stuff Soto. And then they're like, well, I do have this behind my case. I'm like, why isn't this on the table? I'm trying to buy it right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Come on, damn. I want to get this stuff.
Yeah.
My best hitter at the Natty was absolutely in the hotels for the Bowman stuff. That's where I was building my grading order and stuff. So I will show you what I got cooking for my Bowman stuff. Right now I got probably 3 of them. So my first one is a guy that you were talking about with Montez. This is one I picked up at the National.
Cam
Collier. Yep.
Cam Collier. It's blurry because I got the backlight, but
yeah.
Cam Collier. It's the Atomic out of 100 PSA 10. Yeah. This card I feel like is an absolute monster. Crazy thing is, it's actually a Pop 41. Half of them gemmed, which is crazy.
Wow.
I love Collier. I think he's an absolute stud. And 14 home runs at 19 years old, and you're seeing his average come up to. I absolutely adore him. I got that card and I kind of bought in. My other one now is someone that we really preach on the podcast a lot. He's actually an ace prospect and he has come up from nowhere. And that is going to be I got to get rid of the glare. There we go. Somewhat. Colby Thomas.
Okay.
I'm
not familiar with his market.
Yeah, so he is getting hotter now. He's actually in the top 10 in almost all categories in the minors: home runs, doubles, triples, RBIs. He is just absolutely exploding. And I got that for nothing almost. And his stuff is still relatively cheap. And what I say about him is that the A's have such an absolute monster hole in their lineups.
Yeah.
Especially for stardom next to Jacob Wilson, obviously.
Yep.
I think he's the one to really fill it and has shown that he can do it.
For sure.
And then my last one, let's see if I can get it. Yeah, there it is. Jordan Lawler.
Yeah.
I don't know what people are doing. They kind of have forgotten about him.
Did he get promoted and then got optioned back to triple, or is he still in the bigs?
So last year he got promoted. He had his little stint, and then the season ended up ending. He actually got hurt. He was out almost all the end of last year into this year. Just started rehabbing. He was hitting 380 for a couple weeks, and then went on the IL-7. Should be back relatively soon. But every Topps Chrome auto I've been seeing of him on Facebook, I've been buying.
Yeah. Well, the thing is about prospecting and the card market in general is so many people are only familiar with what's right in front of their face. And so if you can be smart and you can kind of go beyond what's right in front of people's face and you have enough patience to wait, then you can do really, really well. And the other thing I was going to mention when you showed me the fella, is it Colby Thomas? Is that what you said his name was? Yeah. So, I think our philosophy, or my philosophy, is we really only focus on the top 5 or 10 guys. And we want and because here's my thought process is, if I'm, because I run a business as well and, you know, have a lot of other stuff going on, it's like I'm going to probably go after a card that's like 800 to $1,000 to $2,000 with a chance to make 20% on that card. You know what I mean? Versus the long value guys. But that's the beauty of Bowman, is because people might go, like, people tell me all the time, I don't have $1,000. I'm like, great. Go find a dude you can get for $20 and be patient. And if that guy debuts, that's a $200 card. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's something for everybody in the Bowman market. And that's what I love about it, because in the football market, you don't get that as much because it's really just the quarterbacks and you have to have a high, you know, capacity to enter the market. But Bowman, I feel like you can get in no matter how much money you have.
Absolutely. And that's kind of things you even see with like old videos of like people opening Bowman, like the legendary Mike Trout video of the guy pulling the orange auto. And he's like, Mike Trout, I can't remember if this guy is good. Or the dude who pulls the gold Fernando Tatis Jr. auto. He's like, oh, this guy stinks. And he throws it to the side. I mean, these are guys that I know it's hard because of we have so much media. We have the podcast. There's so many people talking about these prospects. There's a lot of guys still behind the scenes, like Colby Thomas, that I like to preach, and because they're affordable and people can get into that market. And you never know. This guy could absolutely be a huge monster in the MLB. Yordan Alvarez was not, I mean, he was very good in the minors, but not a very hype prospect.
Yeah.
And now look at what he's one of the best hitters in the MLB. And you probably could have got that, his Bowman first green auto or something. 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago for very, very cheap. I mean, even before it was hot.
The other thing that's great about Bowman, as I tell people, is, especially with prospecting, is you've got a longer lead time, right? So like you've got a 2 to 3 year lead time from a guy debuting until he actually comes out. So you've got time to be able to recoup your investment, you know, whereas with football, it's like, dude, guy comes out and you either make it or you don't. NBA, same thing. You either come out, you make it or you don't. And with prospects, you have a much longer window. So it doesn't lend itself to the quick flipping environment of all the other side of the hobby, but it's more savvy. And so for me, Bowman is this place where like a love for sports meets like true kind of analytical investing type thing. So like nerds can kind of geek out, and you know what I mean? And it's there's something for everybody.
I love that Jordan Lawler pickup because, like you said, he was crushing it in the MLB last year. He gets hurt, and then everybody kind of like, oh, kind of like Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar Henderson, when he got called up, not doing great. I mean, we sold a Gunnar orange last year for like.
I doubted him. I doubted Gunnar. I did. Yeah, I can admit it.
And then he comes back this year, and he's doing. I mean, runner up and MVP right now. But I mean, it's just crazy how people can change. So I was talking to a guy at the National who had 2 Ohtani True Blue autos, Bowman, PSA 10. I said, where'd you get these? He's like, well, after Ohtani got Tommy John, everybody was sleeping on him. I picked both these up for $100 a piece. And now they're $40,000 cards. So he was just
I bought a ton too at the time. It's time to buy. People like when I don't know if Big Man, I don't know if you got in really big when that Bowman draft came out with Jordan Lawler. I think we were after that.
Our first Bowman product was 22 draft with Holiday.
Okay. So this draft, I got in about 2020, like early 2021. I mean, COVID. It's kind of when everybody brought this into it. And this draft was absolutely insane. I mean, it was Marcelo Mayer and Jordan Lawler. They were the 2 big guys. And I mean, the price of Jordan Lawler's were probably the money that people have lost on him is absurd.
Yeah,
sure.
But it was because of his talent, and people are just so obsessed with the
latest
Dominguez, the everyone. He is really the guy to buy right now. He is. I mean, I saw that from just a guy in the hotel, and my eyes exploded. I was like, I need that. The black and white Waves autos those are the first debuts of the draft light boxes. Those are exclusive too. I don't know the print run, but they're incredibly rare.
50.
It's like 50,
50. So I'm very much thinking about cracking that out of the BGS slab to get it to maybe
min or
mix.
Mixed, Jim.
Yeah. It says there's it says corners, but the corners are not bad. So I can get my buddy to do some work on it. We'll send it in the grading order maybe. I'm nervous. I don't want it to PSA 9. But what is so now that we're on to like just talking about our collections and stuff and what we have, what would you say is the gem of your guys' collection right now?
It's got to be one of the vintage, or I mean, you can put these.
I'm weird, man. Like I said, I'm a card junkie. Like I like the novelty of cards, and so I'm going to show you I'm going to show you a couple things right now. So, like, I think there's great value in like super significant vintage stuff. So this is a 51 Bowman Mantle and a 48 leaf 51 Bowman Maze and a 48 leaf Ted Williams. I picked both of these up at the National. Both really good copies, both centered and clean. I just think there's great long-term value in the vintage stuff. So I love that. And that if you said the house is on fire, go grab a card, like I'm picking those up, right? But being a card guy, I started applying the same kind of thought process to guys that were playing when I was a kid. So Griffey, Ripken, Jeter, Jordan, guys like that. I think the insert market from those 90s is really yet to kind of hit its stride. So these are 2 Cal Ripkens. This is a Credentials to 299. And then this is a Flair Legacy Showcase number to 100. So like this particular card is a Pop 2.
Yeah.
And then this one is like a Pop 6.
I don't think people realize how rare those inserts were in the 90s, late 90s products, the late 90s. Yeah. Those are going to explode. I really do think they are.
And then this one is the Platinum Flair Ultra number to 100. I haven't graded it yet. But like the reality is there's less than 10 of those cards graded in that condition or better. And so you look at long term, I don't think Ripken has the hype as a Griffey or a Jeter or Bond, but he's still, he's the Iron Man. Like he's always going to be known for the thing. Now, this is the other thing I'll show you. And again, thank you for letting me geek out on this. Matthew's like, Dad, what are you going to talk about this?
Love it.
So this is the ticket stub. When I was 10 years old, I went to the 91 All-Star game. Ripken was the home run derby champ. This is a Pop 1 home run derby ticket stub signed by Ripken.
That is amazing.
No others in existence. This is the game ticket from Ripken, and it's a Pop 4.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Wow. So like stuff like that to me, it's like rare art. Like it doesn't exist. There are 4 of those. There's 1 of those. You know what I mean? Like, and I think there's great long-term asset. So for me, as a guy who, runs a business, has a family, home, I look at diversifying assets and I think about in collectibles, you want stuff that doesn't exist because when it doesn't exist, people are going to want it.
And you can name your price on. So what we've noticed with like a lot of these cards that are low pop or you can't get anywhere else, you can. So like exactly. So we were at the just to show how little Bowman was at the National. We were at the after show, which was great. We set up at it. This guy comes up. He's like, finally some Bowman, and he's like, how much you want on that Walker Jenkins refractor auto? We bought it on eBay for like $460. We're the last comp. We don't want to sell it, and we're just like $550. He's like, all right, deal. When you have the good high-end like cards that nobody else has in the room, you can get your price for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I thoroughly agree. I think that was something that I did. I ended up buying a lot of stuff that I really didn't want to, obviously, but I was like, I got this money. I want to spend it, and I don't have to deal with people on Instagram or Facebook I could actually talk to people. And that's kind of something that like, because we see a lot of people on the Facebook groups, they're pretty brutal sometimes, and you never know who's behind the account, or Instagram. There's a lot of people like that, especially being face to face. I can always negotiate and see the card in hand, which was something that's awesome. But little Matt, your turn. Let's see what you got.
I have some cool football. Dad, will you go grab it real quick? I'll show this one. But so my brothers, so this is a sneaky pickup right here. His base autograph does $1,000, and this one's only doing $1,150. Why?
So this is a refractor Bowman first Acuna Bowman first auto refractor, BGS 9.5. Very
Yeah.
nice card, dude.
Yeah,
Very
so
nice.
we were selling we owned probably 2 or 3 of them last year in the 9.5, and we were
Mhm.
selling them for I think close to $3,000 last year. And when we saw this at the National, my brothers did for like $1,200. It was so hard to pass up, even though the
Yeah.
comps are like right at 1,200. The value on it is insane.
That's a nice card. What I like about those cards for his Bowman First is there's no border. So
Yeah.
in my opinion, they are great for recracking and grading again.
Yep.
I think you can resub those and 10 those easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is a little football action.
The old Kaboom. That's a nice card, man.
Mahomes' first year Kaboom. So the reason I
Kaboom
picked this
9.
up is Kabooms are so hot. Everybody's like buying
Yep.
Kabooms downtowns, but everybody's buying why is a 2023 Patrick Mahomes Kaboom that they make 400 of? Why is it doing $1,000? But his first Kaboom, a pop 40, only doing like 2,300, like a little bit more than double. I don't
Yeah.
understand it. So it's just, and I went into the National looking for a big Mahomes, and as soon as I saw it, I knew that this is the card I'm going to get. And I got it first day, and everybody's like offering me way over comp and trade, and I said, nope. I promised myself I'm going to walk back home with it, and I came back home with it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really cool card. I mean, football is one of those. It's a niche thing where a lot of it actually doesn't make sense. Like some of the star wide receivers in the league, granted they careers are pretty short for receivers and running backs. It's tough, but you're seeing like Tyreek Hill rookie autos don't go for a ton of money. Like even like
Yeah.
rookie autos in general for football don't go for a lot, and it doesn't make sense to me. It's all about kabooms and downtowns.
Yeah.
And one thing I actually like that Topps did in this recent Topps Chrome, I don't know if you guys seen it. They did the Topps, the Helix insert.
Yeah.
So I really like them because it's kind of their way to combat kabooms and downtowns because they extremely limited the print run. And you can see it because I don't see any on Facebook marketplaces, eBay barely. They're very rare. And it's just the base version, which are super, super short printed, and then the 101s, which I absolutely love. Maybe they could release a little bit more, but they're really cool.
And I agree. They're very cool cards. And the Kaboom and downtown market pretty much ran the football market for months. And you saw the National. The National was the most competitive market I've ever been in because I literally saw a repacker at a table make $1 million plus deal because he's going to this table. He's like, this downtown is $300. You take $295. All right. Like this Jordan Fleer rookie, BGS 8, does $6,000. He's like, you take 58. Literally like clearing out the whole table. And like you can't buy anything if you have these repackers out there paying 100%. Like where am I going to buy the stuff? So that's where trade night came in handy. So I did buy a lot of the stuff at the trade night, but finding these cards that are rare, like the Helix, they could be a play because people could then see, oh wow, these are not like an insert; these are real short prints and rare. So if you can pick a few of those up and hold them until the market realizes, it could be a play.
Yeah, I think one of the things too that's really interesting that I just want to get this off is when you start to recognize that there are cards that you just don't see, right? Now you have something that is a desirable asset, right? Now, there's still going to be highly liquid stuff that just turns, frequently that you can do well on. But I think that those are more affected by market ebbs and flows. Whereas on the true type collector's items you don't see, items that are super rare, it's like, think about this in Bowman right now. When you get into supers, reds, oranges, golds, and true blues, okay? Those 5 variations of cards, the population total in those is like 230. There's only 230 of those types of parallels. If you have a top prospect, right, you have thousands of people going after 300 cards, right? So you have a lot of guys sitting long on blues and oranges and golds and reds or whatever. And so it's not as influenced as much, whereas refractors and things like that tend to turn hands a little bit quicker. And so, again, to your point, is when you have the low population stuff of these top prospects, top current players, Hall of Famers, whatever, it's really hard to lose as long as there are collectors in the game. And
Yeah.
we all know there are, because we are one and we love it. And so then you're going to do well, man. You're going to do well because there's people going after those low pop things.
Yeah. Like obviously when I picked up the glare is brutal, but I'll get it. There you go. The Marcelo Mayer. When I picked this up at the National, it was like a dream come true. Like as a collector and a big fan.
Is that true gold or is it gold weight? True gold.
True gold. True gold.
Oh.
It was.
I mean, that card at one point, like how much was that card at one point? Like peak, like because you said Marcel Mayer was hot, but coming out.
I really think at its point right now, I haven't seen its trend in 21 because of obviously the highest it probably was ever was in the 21 COVID era. But I think in the actual relaxed market to where it actually has hit its plateau, we know what it is now. This is what it is. I think this is one of its highest it's going to be. It'll probably get higher towards the debut, and if they keep progressing the way they do, I do think this could be a $3,000 to $4,000, maybe $5,000 card. But also, as we see, the older cards get, the more they grow, the more they inflate, they become rarer, people pay more money. That's kind of what I'm seeing with that card. But also, not really a card I want to get rid of in the future. I love that card, and it's so rare. Now that you say about parallels, though, and you're saying the True Blue Gold, one card parallel that I'm actually seeing that has been, I personally think it's exploding, is the True Black parallel in Bowman. They're out of 75. Some of them are actually out of like 72 in some products. But in Bowman, anytime I see a True Black, I like want it. Mainly because they're really hard to grade. Like really hard.
Well, when they dime, they look so good. Like we had a dime Termar Johnson True Black, and it was kind of a color match black jersey, and we cashed out a while back. But like, and it's funny, the True Blacks to like 75 do about the same as the True Blues, even though the pop count's double.
I know.
But it's kind of a niche thing, right? Like that's what's weird. I still haven't figured it out. Like, and my question would be, like, take a peek at like Trey Turner, right? So Turner had a couple of parallels. I think it's like is it a blue wave or like
it's a black wave to 15, a purple to 10.
But some of those odd, variations early on, they just don't do as well as like the golds or the oranges or whatever.
Yes.
So I'm curious to see how currently the blacks and stuff will hold up when you project it out, 5 to 10 years for a true MLB All-Star.
Yeah, I think because we have them being the true sets and we have them every year being the same, we're going to have some repetition now. And I think you're going to see the obviously True Blue, True Gold, Red, Orange, this and that. We're going to see these be the staples of these products. So I think we're going to have true hard values on these now, rather than 2016 Trey Turner, which I owned a green shimmer Bowman first auto, or maybe it was Bowman rookie auto. And it did, for what he is, and at the time, it was during the World Baseball Classic, they were only doing what, 200? I think I had $250 they were doing. Yeah. And I'm like, this is an out of 99 and one of the best shortstops in the league. Yeah. And sometimes it just doesn't make sense. And then you got guys who haven't touched the league yet, and they're going for quadruple prices of guys who have been in the league for 10 years.
You can go ahead and throw your logic out the window when you're dealing with prospecting and Bowman stuff. Just it's not a logic-driven game. It's a hype-driven game and a prospecting future game. And so, like, if you're a logical guy, you're not going to do well because it doesn't make a whole lot of logical sense.
It doesed not at all. Like, you look at Yordan Alvarez, too. Should be absolutely one of the most expensive players in the game. And I had an out of 5 rookie auto out of 5. And it was a PSA 10. And it barely went for $1,000. Didn't make any sense to me.
It's crazy.
But we'll wrap it up real quick. I just want to talk to you guys about, obviously we talked about the National. What you guys are obviously probably going, right, to Chicago next year?
If he lets me, I'd go to any show in the country. So
yeah. We actually just booked our trip like a week and a half ago because the hotels have been flying. But for your experience in Cleveland, what was your favorite part about the National?
I can answer. I'll go ahead and start. But the National is the only place where you can see every single bigger collector in the entire world. Because you go to a Dallas show, sure, you'll see your friends, but you don't see the person you've been talking to on Instagram for a year. Like everybody goes to the National, and then and seeing everybody, and it's not like everybody goes, but like at Dallas, you don't have the corporate sections with Babe Ruth's game used jersey or the stuff you see at the National, you can't see everywhere else.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are talking about like, oh, there weren't any deals and stuff. Well, that's because there's 100,000 people there buying everything. So like, it's like I said, very competitive market, but great seeing everybody. And the trade nights are definitely where all the deals were.
I think one of the things that's great about the National is it's Christmas, right? And what I mean by that is like people really aren't as concerned about their pocketbooks. It's just about the experience. So you get value for your cards. You know what I mean? Like I made a deal with a good buddy, and I've really enjoyed connecting with him. And he bought a 1953 Topps Willie Mays PSA 4 off of me. Ooh. And, it was funny because you take it to a dealer table and the dealer's going, I don't know. I'll give you, I don't know, probably be around like, I don't know. I'll probably be around like 25 on it. And I'm like, the last comp's 36. What are you talking? Well, yeah, but that was a new label. And it was like, I'm like, all right, whatever. But then you go over to this guy and he's like, dude, this is beautiful. It's very centered. I want it right now. And I said, well, dude, I picked it up off of auction at 32. He's like, I'll give you 33. And I was like, dude, you're the man. And he was like, so tickled to get it. You know what I mean? And like, my point is, it's like that happens at the National. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily going to happen anywhere else because people are just going like, dude, I don't get this opportunity all the time. And I'm going to take advantage of it when it's in front of me.
Yeah. And that's what you were saying. You were saying like, probably cards that I wouldn't have bought online, I bought at the National just because it is the National. And I know when I saw Bowman, I had to get – so, like, you might be paying a little bit strong, but, like, the rarity of the good cards at the National, when you saw it, you had to get it. So, like this Mahomes, when I saw it, I could care less if I was paying strong for it. I had to get the card. And same thing with the high-end vintage, the low-pop stuff. You have to get it when you see it. And that's why I saw a lot of people paying strong. When you come in with the low pop, I had a Paulo Banchero White Sparkle Prism. Last comp was like $1,500 a while back. That's like probably I only saw like 2 others on the show floor, and somebody claimed it at full ask because it was one of the only few on the show floor. So when you come in with the true gold stuff like that, you do well.
Yeah, this is something that's a perfect example of that. I end up buying. Let's see if I can get the glare again. Yep, there it is.
Bobby Witt,
I bought this Bobby Witt Jr., and it's something that I was looking for on Facebook for a long time. It's a Platinum Anniversary blue prism refractor out of 99 rookie auto, and it's a double 10. This is a card that I actually saw in a booth, and there was a last comp on it in January of $450. They wanted $1,400. And that obviously being a huge risk, I was like, I can't do 14. We talked and talked and talked. We ended up getting the $800. And I've seen people post this on the Facebook groups and stuff, all that, $1,300, $1,200, and I got it for $800. I mean, it is a color match, gorgeous
looking card. Yeah.
The Platinum Anniversaries are absolutely gorgeous. And it's one of those things you see it. And the rarity we talk about, you don't see these things. Platinum Anniversary, I barely see autos out of there, but it's probably one of the most gorgeous sets I've ever seen. I know it was a Fanatics exclusive online set.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you see them, and a PSA 10 too, you can't pass them up. At the National, it's not something I could have passed up. And obviously, Lil Matt, you said that you see these things, and you're just like, and it's when in Rome, and it's a perfect example of the National.
100%. You got to capitalize on it. So, again, and I would say the other thing about the National, Matthew kind of alluded to it, is just like the thing that makes the hobby to me is the people. And so when you can meet people, see people, engage in person, like in a culture that's grown like so accustomed to like hiding behind your phone, like to be able to be in person and see people and have conversations and stuff, like it's just so valuable, man. And like that for me is like that's the rich part about the National in-person shows. Yeah.
I mean, even cards in general. I have now, since I run the podcast, I run it with 2 of my very close friends. One, I was a friend from high school, and one is a buddy that I met at a card show. And we have now since become really, really close. He's one of my good friends now. And another one of my buddies I met at a card show. he moved here from actually Seattle, and he's my buddy who's a big Mariners fan. We met, and I talk to him every day. We already booked our national trip together. Like all my friends, we're all going to go together. This is one of those hobbies that it's awesome because I get to meet people like you guys. I get to talk to you guys. I love talking to you, and just I met so many people at the show at National. So it is a cool gift to have with this hobby and just get to meet new people and do what we love and share cards and
Absolutely.
all that.
Yeah, and the thing that's crazy to me is, like you can meet somebody at a card show you've never met before, and you'll become best friends in like 10 seconds. Like, and like I literally, like a buddy I started talking to probably a month and a half ago. Within the first week of us talking, we started our own podcast, and we're walking around the National with each other for hours. So it's crazy, like the connections that the hobby can bring and how quick it happens.
Yeah,
so it's great.
Shared values. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's all I got for you guys on this one.
We obviously can talk about cards forever.
I listen. If we had the time on the pod, I'd have you here till 10 p.m. We could do it all night long and talk. Trust me. But I thank you guys for being on. It was awesome. Loved having you here.
Yep. Appreciate what you're doing, man. Keep grinding and keep doing it. It's good stuff.
Love it.
I appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys soon. We'll get you on again in the future. Hopefully, maybe like when there's another big Bowman release, we'll get going at it. And I'll see you at future shows and stuff. So everyone, thanks for having HamHouseSports on here. If you don't follow them on Instagram, go give HamHouseSports a follow. And we'll see you guys later. Thank you.
Peace.